I want to talk about awakening, enlightenment, or satori, whatever you call it. Let me just first start with the origin. Whether it's Christianity or not, I think you may agree that Buddha thought about 4 key issues of his awakening experience. First is everything is painful, suffering, the life is. Second is everything is impermanent, things change, nothing remains the same. The third is the law of nature are manifesting everywhere. There is no self. That's really a good one. I'll come back to that. And the fourth is涅槃寂静. It's peace. In涅槃means heaven, so to speak. But the point is that if you realize the laws of nature is manifesting without self, you may realize the peace. So that's the ending part. And I want to relate to that statement to my own awakening experience, if I will. I have had awakening experience, whether you believed or not. And I share that. And it may be related to my early years when I had the fear of unknown. At the age 16 or 17, reading Pansei, that I noticed that I'm just a little speckle, tiny piece of this whole universe. And I couldn't get what my existence was. So I was in the darkness, pitch darkness for a day or more, but I couldn't solve it. But later, I think that thought may stay with me for me to get interested in Zen, because Zen is not easy to understand. And it's a good challenge I want to explore. So I did that. And after studying Daisetsu and sutras and this and that, finally I decided to sit for 10 days in Vipassana, California Vipassana Center. That's the year 2000. And I had the real pain. I didn't want to stay any longer. On the 8th day, I thought I wanted to get out of this with the ambulance. Not pain. In the middle of pain, I still determined to sit through. The thought popped up, is it because I'm trying to escape from the pain? I have the pain. And without thought, I'm closing my eyes and sitting. I notice something is moving. I could see my body cells are responding to my taking a look at what's going on in my body. And I did do that. Eyes closed. The response gets stronger, stronger. And the whole body starts to vibrate. And then I couldn't do anything. Such a strong power, the energy welled up from my bottom chakra, you may call that. And my body was shaking, and then I was in the, what's the word? Plasma. Eyes closed, but I could see the lights. And that may have lasted 10, 15 years, I don't know. And there was a relief, and a smile, and the pain was gone. So, that's my awakening experience. I couldn't figure out there's an assistant teacher, but he didn't say anything. So the next 5 years, 6 years more, I studied again about all the Zen, spirituality, Christianity, whatever. And then I remember, thy will be done. After all the studies and researches, that's what happened. Thy will. You can think of thy meaning God, or my general, typical way of thinking is the way of nature, the laws of nature. So thy will be done. The laws of nature take care of yourself. You can say God helps you, or Amida Buddha, whatever the term. So there was that tremendous relief experience. But that heightened blissful sense started to go down over 10 days or further. And I knew that if I don't do something different, I would get back all the bad habit in myself. And I didn't want to go through this sitting so many days to release it. But that's my intuition. So I start to meditate every day. I knew I couldn't do 2 hours a day, so I did 1 hour every day. And I went to 10-day Vipassana course, like that happened in the year 2000, dozen times in different locations too. Because I didn't want to get back to the bundled state. At the same time, I want to get that amazing experience again, to confirm that I'm understanding and living. And that huge experience didn't happen. There was a wonderful, blissful sensation stayed with me, and I could connect to that almost any time for the next 26 years by now. This is 2024, so 24 years by now from that 2000 year experience. And that's the experience of samadhi. No mind, no thinking, no self, and there's no boundaries, barriers, because the barriers being thrown away. My view is that my awakening may be one level, and I like to characterize in this way. When we have the mind bundled up or siloed, confined in certain way, then easy case that I can share is the joke. I don't usually get the joke easily, but many can even talk 100 jokes. And that is to find the passage within your neural network that seemingly unrelated event is synchronized or synthesized to see aha moment. So that's a joke. But it's in the frame of mind, in the brain. But that's kind of aha moment, awakening at the easy level. But it could be realizing where I left my scissors. I couldn't figure out. Then I looked through in my brain where I was. I used the scissors and da. Then I can relate to where, oh, that's right. And then there it is. So those are the mini awakening. Idea generation may be awakening. You cannot solve something. You need a tool, but there's no tool. What do you do? So you came up with an inventive idea to solve it. And that happens sometimes in the work, complex financial statement, and you don't know what, but then you realize this is what's indicated. Or in the case of sportsmanship, you are doing certain way of surfing or diving or whatever, and you start to realize, this is the way. Or Picasso, painting, or musician, Bach, artist, in a different level, they connect to the deeper level so that they can combine different notes or different colors or different movement to get better outcome. So you can call it the mini awakening, to train yourself, be familiar with the setting and what you do. If I think of the fish or the bird or the animal, they are already experiencing that awakened sense to live without thinking. They know what to do. That's what they do. There's no psychological suffering. They're in the now, no mind, no self. They're in samadhi. They follow the laws of nature, and there's no additional burden carried. Just be. So awakening is to get to the grounded level of samadhi. And that's what this guy, Edgar Mitchell, I read the book he wrote called The Way of the Explorer. I'm an explorer of different kind, but in his case, Apollo 14 to go to the moon, walked around and coming back. And he saw the earth, the sun, and the moon, and the universe. And something happened. His mind was off, and he felt the universe. And he had awakening. He had ecstasy, bliss. And later, he figured out it's a state of samadhi. He used the word samadhi, as much as in my case, vipassana, Shila Samadhi Panya, Shila right conduct. You can still screw up, and then what do? Calm and quiet mind, delusion and so forth, with the mind being calm, quiet, no self, no thinking, comes up with the wisdom or awakening or compassion. So samadhi is, I like to call it the ground state. Like all animals and plants are in that state, but humans with the brain get tangled up in the confused state of what to do this and that, where I live and why I have this pain, why am I sitting, what's the purpose of life, meditation, all that stuff, how small I am and why I'm like this. So life is suffering, everything is impermanent though. So that if you know that impermanence, and if you know that the law of nature is manifesting beyond the mind, the brain level, but deeper in your consciousness, and accept everything as it is, then something happens. Aha moment, awakening can come out because your mind barrier is gone in the samadhi state. So you can access to the deeper level of unused memories, let's say. And that's similar to AI, deep learning, or backward propagation, they call it. Back propagation, meaning creating the neural network in a computer, and you process things to find the solution of what to do. And in that process, you look into all the database to see what fit to choose the next step. Come up with the idea. So backward, going back in the history and the database to find the optimum passage to choose, and then continue that. So it's basically like animals' way of functioning, but also human. The human level, the memory and the words make it more complex so that you need a huge amount of database of all that. But having that and processed in such a manner to find the optimal passage comes with this like large language model. It's in a way idea generation or even awakening to maximum utilize the resources instead of being siloed and confined. So that's what I see AI maybe a process of awakening as the world changed and the information changed and understanding can be changed because everything is permanent, but always follow the laws of nature to find the right action. It does on its own if we access to the core level by samadhi. In a way, I see AI provide the setting to emulate human brain neural network experience database in the computer language of numbers and so forth, and find the process to come up with ideas with this deep learning backward propagation and keep moving forward. So if you see it that way, it's sort of interesting. And even Dogen from Zen Master talks about what he says, and I'm sure there are other places in the Buddhist Sutra. We live in a certain universe, and if you go beyond that universe, or mini-universe, you may not live well. The analogy is the fish. If fish goes out of the water, he'll die. We live optimized in whatever given in our universe, and that's the nature that's provided us to be alive in that setting. Out of the dust of the universe, we are alive. We didn't do it. The nature did it. You can call God did it. And as we live, and then eat the fruit of knowledge, the Garden of Eden, we develop the brain, right and wrong, good and bad, beautiful, ugly, and start to judge. And it helps us to live better. Therefore, we are living longer. But the price of that is that because of this faculty of thinking so many things, there's a delusionally thought that start to overwhelm us. And you don't know what to do anymore. So what do? Samadhi. Like going out of the universe of this tiny earth, or relate to the core of our being, where we came from. The law of the universe provided us to be alive in this form. We don't know, we didn't do it. It's a miracle. So there's a miracle power of me talking, thinking, sharing, you listening, and us to be deluded. But to go deluded, eating the fruit of the knowledge, causes the delusion. But by finding the passage like a large language model of backward propagation or awakening, find the passage, the wisdom. So delusion and wisdom, or delusion and compassion. So we are in a pain and suffering to find the passage, awakening. That's what's going on. So my view of awakening is it depends on that setting. We are in the water. And if we Let me see if I don't lose this. We are in the water, or mini universe. But there's a wider universe, and there may be different laws of nature functioning where I don't know, like a fish out of the water. So given my mini universe, I have this awakening in that setting, but I'm, like I said, develop bad habit again if I'm not careful, or different environment that I'm not aware. I live in different countries, and that's part of the reason I want to explore what I can do in each of the countries to be still sane and make the right choice, or be versatile. As much as computer may use the information from different database and put together to be versatile, to have a collective database to come up with the solution, the passage that we make to live our life well. So it's going to be a continuous process, continuous evolution. One awakening doesn't guarantee you are awakened. If you think you're awakened, you are deluded. You may not like it, but that's the start. You always have to start with the basic: no mind, no self, samadhi. And then we can utilize the brain, not to be used by the brain. That's what I mean, use the brain, at the same time listen to our heart. And with that, the waku-waku energy would come out. Let's do some meditation and get into samadhi in other occasions that I like to share. Or you may do your own. But that's what I see me living at the moment. Awakening in the past is just that. Don't hang on to it. But you may have better ground, but you have depth of it. So be realistic. You can be sitting the rest of, or meditating the rest of the year, your life, or back to the world, experience, explore it, and move further. That's our choice. That's all of us to see if we can, as a group, as a society, as a human, be enlightened as much as each individual enlightening process may move on. Each of our society, nation, political situation, science, art, sports, anything, has a way of evolving, utilizing the miraculous power that we have by continuous delusion and awakening and moving forward.